Sauba Cape Coast man mua biaba ako a wontumi nyimfiri mu ene Cape Coast Castle nipa pi a wo mu binum ye Ghana fo ene ahoho ekokohwe esanso kotie abakosem a efa yen nananom a ofa atete yawo ene amanehunu mu a wo mfie bi a abesine konum biaye a wo hwe yi eye male slave dungeon mechire baabi a na wode mema a no won kwasom yi kogu kopem se wo bayi won na waton na hakane no na eho esumpa nanso eneide nkane abaho enam won a wo baho ensrahwe no nti.
The last chamber in the dungeon, and again 200 men will be in the space. What you see here is a traditional shrine, a shrine belonging to the local people who live in the town. So the locals who are traditionalists, they do come here to practice their religion, the African traditional religion. The town is currently celebrating a traditional festival known as the Fetua Fashion. So just yesterday there were some rituals done here. So it is an active shrine. Now it was built in the 1970s, the shrine. So that was long after Ghana had become an independent country. So during the transatlantic slave trade, this was not here. One will ask, why did the locals build a shrine here? It is here because of its historical connection to the land on which this slave castle is built. The local history is that before the Swedish came, before the Swedish occupied the land, the Africans in the town back then had the shrine on this land. But when the land was occupied, they were forced out. The Danes came, the Dutch were here, the British, and none of them allowed the local people back. But when the British left, when they stopped and left, the locals wanted the shrine back on land. This slave castle was still here. So they were given this space by the government of Ghana to build the shrine.
Ehai eye baabi a wo hye da siesie a odi sie ingresi abrofo no mu bi a wo ye e wo ho no.
Main problem was the language barrier. So they decided to take some African boys from the town to England and train them as missionaries. And Philip was one of the boys taken. Now, Philip Kwaku, born in 1741, their father was a middleman who was bringing people here to barter for European goods. At a young age of just about 11 years, Philip was taken to England. And in England, he became an Anglican priest. He was the first African to be ordained one. After becoming a priest, the British brought him back. He stayed here during the slave trade, preaching Christianity in the town. And he also promoted Western education among some African boys in the town. Philip Kwaku died on the 17th of October, 1816, 75 years old when he died here, buried right here in the court. About his name, he belonged to the Akan ethnic group in Ghana. And among the Akans, you get a name based on the day you were born. So he was born on Wednesday. The original name given to him by the father was Kweku. And in England, he was baptized and given the Christian name Philip. That is why the name Philip Kweku. The three here, they are all British. After passing the law to abolish the transatlantic slave trade, the British had no plans of leaving because we still had the gold, the natural resources, and they wanted to be in control. So around 1830, they appointed George McLean as a governor of the slave castle. McLean's job here was to try and create a colony, bring the towns and villages around under British rule. George McLean stayed and worked for 17 years. He died of malaria in 1847 at the age of 46. McLean's wife, Letitia Elizabeth London, came from England to visit in 1838. When she came, in less than 2 months, Letitia was found dead in her husband's bedroom. And the cause of death was very controversial. There were rumors, there were stories in the town that when she came, she caught the husband McLean with another woman. George McLean had a mistress here. So many began assuming that Letitia might have committed suicide out of frustration. But then after she died, the husband continued his relationship with the mistress. They even had a daughter together. So there were others who were speculating that it looked like it was the husband who poisoned the wife, just so he can continue his relationship with the mistress. 36 years when she died here, and the cause of death remains controversial up to today. The last grave, an army officer, the name C.B. Whitehead. He worked here as well, died in 1812 at the age of 38. The cause of death is unknown. No record of that. So 3 British and a native of the town, Kweku or Philip Kweku.
Obi bebusa sɛ aduane ne nsuo bɛn na na yɛ nananom a wɔkɔ nkwasom yi mu edie na wɔnom. Abakɔsɛm kyerɛ sɛ na abrofo yi ɛmo wɔn aduane anopa ne anwummerɛ. Na abura yi a wohunu yi na sɛ nsuo tɔ gu mu a wɔsɛm nsuo no bi ɛde ma wɔn anom.
That was the water they gave them to drink. But we have now connected to the main water system in the town. So these days we store pipe-on or treated water in it. And that is what we use for the painting and other domestic purposes. So originally rain, but now pipe-on water.
Baby a yabedru yi a male punishment cell. Faako a wɔde mmarima a wɔpere sɛ wɔbɛnya fa ahodie anaasɛ wɔsi abrɔfo no kwan ekogu.
So the cell created to keep the men who were fighting for their freedom. Now this very door has been around for more than 200 years. It dates back to the slavery time. So one could say it was a witness, if only you could speak. If only you could speak.
Wɔde mmarima bɛyɛ sɛ du ekogu ɛdan yi mu a wɔma wɔn aduane dakoro na ɛbro ne ayakayaka deɛ wɔfa no kwa wɔyɛ wɔn saa sɛ ne bɛyɛ a wɔbɛsakyera wɔadwene na wɔdi ahyɛdeɛ so pɛpɛɛpɛ. Ɛnam sɛ English abrofo yi a na wɔdi yɛn so yi ɛwɔ atamfo nti wɔsiesie saa akodie yi sɛ ne bɛyɛ a wɔde bɛkunkum wɔn asi wɔn kwan na ama wɔn atamfo yi ameyi wɔn ɛmfiri wɔn tenabea.
These cannons were mobile. A soldier fills one with gunpowder and then puts a cannon ball at a man. They will then light a match through a small opening here. When the fire comes into contact with the gunpowder, it explodes. The pressure from the explosion moves the cannonball at top speed. And these cannonballs are very heavy. They were fired to hit the enemy ships, break the ships on impact, so that the water gradually sink those enemy ships. And the enemies were other Europeans competing. So the Dutch, the French, the Portuguese, they were the reason why these were brought.
Ehai nso ye female slave dungeon. Baby a wode emma egu. Na emom, wona na wo prefa hodie no de. Wode won kogu female punishment cell. Mekire biaye a wotwen aso.
Punishment cell. This the female punishment cell. The women, they were kept in the dungeon down there. We're going there soon. But the women who fought for their freedom, those who resisted rape, they were locked here. As many as 10 women could be in this cell. And a woman could be in for about a week. Whilst in, she eats once a day from the pounds. The idea to starve her, to try and break her with the intention that next time she'll be submissive to giving her. And also to use her set an example to the other women in the dungeon. So women who fought for their freedom, resisted rape, they were locked and starved in a cell. An outlet was created for toilet and urine. Right down there.
Bro, yaw, ayakayaka de ene mu na ato nyina akiri no. Se ekoba se, wona woto nipa no bi eba ananse, se mpo so opese okum emu bia. Saa apuni aya friend se gate of no return. Eyimu ene wode wonfa. Na kire se, yade wo fa mu a ene so bia eni homa obio.
Small and narrow. So the Africans had to go down and walk out. Change later into this big one. The name is very symbolic. No one came here willingly. These were Africans kidnapped, taken from their homes, families, and forced here. When they were taken out into the ships, they lost contact with everything. They were sent to the Americas, the Caribbean, an unknown world to them. Stripped of everything, their names, religion, freedom, enslaved on the plantation. These Africans never returned home.
Enam se Cape Coast Castle yi aye akwansra bia nti epunu yi a na akane no na ye gate of no return no abeye gate or door of return na chese enayi de wofamu a obesan ababio.
This was it. When the Africans are brought out, the British soldiers walk them down. And over here, they'll put the Africans into small boats, like what we see right here. The slave ships stay a bit far on the ocean. So the boats took the Africans, the ships, before they moved them to the Americas and the Caribbean. Now, I want you to take a straight look along the beach. There is a broken wall stretching into the sea. The wall built also by the British. It was a boundary. The Africans who lived in the neighboring community, they were not allowed in here. This part of the beach was reserved only for the British in the castle. But now the place is more or less a mini fishing hub. So a lot of fishing boats.
Emra na ye nananom wo mu enipa be se oha ene akire eda edan ba komu no abrofo ne de na entisa biaya a wo hwe yi governor mekire opanimpa no pie ne asa ene faako a na ono nko a eda.
This was the governor's court. One man here. The British hardly came along with their wives and children because of the malaria. But sometimes the wives come to visit. Most times one man will be here. And there's a living room. You had a bedroom too. You can compare this to the dungeons. In the female dungeon, for instance, it's similar in size. And about 200 people were there. But this, just for one guy. The governor's quarters. Let's take a walk through the bedroom and then go down.
Megidi ye se wura ho na wani nso atete yebetufu se wodi obinam atete anase nkwasomu a jai efri se fa hodie ede nkabom ene adwumutie ene ba asetenemu.
Slave castles built on the shores of West Africa are three. Apart from the Cape Coast slave castle, there is Elmina slave castle by the Portuguese. And there's also the Christiansborg slave castle built by the Danes. And all three are on the shores of present-day Ghana. There are other structures we classify as slave forts. The slave forts are only smaller than these slave castles. And about 30 of them were built not only in Ghana, but in other West African countries, Senegal, the Gambia, Benin. But about 90% of these slave forts were built on the shores of Ghana, more than 20. Currently, there are 14 preserved slave forts. So one will ask, why the shores of present-day Ghana? Why were a lot of these structures built? Apart from taking the African, the human resource, the Europeans were also getting gold in abundance. So the gold we had was one other reason why these Europeans chose to build and stay, so they can take the gold as well. So 3 slave castles and 14 preserved slave forts on the shores of Ghana.